Good morning, children. How are you all today? Hope you all are doing well, children. Children, in the last class, we tried to understand about the natural realms of the earth. And we divided the natural realms into 4 different parts. One is lithosphere, second one is hydrosphere, third one is atmosphere, and fourth one is biosphere. And in the last session, there was an discussion regarding the lithosphere, the rocky surface. So we try to understand how the drama around the margins occur, how the mountains arise, how the sea floor spreads. This kind of drama we try to understand in the earlier session. Today we shall learn about the external process. Those all were the internal process, and now today we shall understand about the external process of the creation of the landforms. So in the previous session I also made it quite clear. There are 3 order landforms. First order landforms are the oceans and continents. Second order landforms are the mountains, plateaus and plains, which got created because of the internal process. And today we are going to learn the other order landforms. It's nothing but the third order landforms. So due to the internal process, we have seen the rise of mountains and the plateaus and plains in our previous class. Today we shall learn about the external forces like water and air, its wind, water and wind, how vigorously they work in order to create the third order landforms. The interaction between the constructive and destructive forces occur in order to create a kind of a landform. If you see the constant weathering of these mountains or constant erosion carried out by these rivers bring lot of silt and a lot of material and they deposit them in the low lying areas, and these general leveling of the land takes place because of the weathering. So as a part of this, as a result of this, the landforms which gets created are called as the third order landforms. If I tell you the definition, this shaping of the landforms by wind and water are called as the third order landforms. For example, valleys, sand dunes, deltas, and even the what we call mountains, curved mountains are also the examples of the third order landforms. These all occur because of the 4 important processes. One is weathering, second one is erosion, third one is transportation, and fourth one is deposition. I repeat it once again. These all third order landforms occur because of 4 important processes: the process of weathering, the process of erosion, the process of transportation, and the process of deposition. These all 4 put together, I tell you, the first one is weathering, second one is erosion, third one is transportation, and fourth one is deposition. These 4 put together, we call them as a denudational process. Denudational process. So this denudational process occurs continuously. It's not only occurs during a specific time. It is a continuous process, and the lowlands what we see today were once occupied by the mountains and plateaus. They got eroded and formed as a lowlands. So this denudational process changes occur very slowly. The structure of the mountains, plateaus and plains keep on changing continuously through a process known as the erosion cycle, or we also call this process as a geomorphic cycle. The process through which the shape of the mountains and plateaus change is called as erosion cycle. I repeat once again. The process through which the shape of the mountains and the plateaus change is called as a geomorphic cycle, or it is also called as a erosion cycle. Now let us learn about the denudational process in detail. What is weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition? Coming to the weathering, children, weathering is a process by which the gradual disintegration of the rocks the gradual disintegration of the rocks by atmospheric forces or weather forces occur. The rocks which are exposed to the water and sun, water and light, okay, which are exposed continuous to water and light, what happened? They expand and they contrast. They expand and they contrast. As a result of it, after day, in the morning they exposed to the sunlight and evening they get contrasted. In summer they expand and in winter they get contrasted. As a result of this, after few years, they become very brittle and they break. They become brittle. Brittle means weakened. They become weak and they break. And after breaking, the air and moisture starts entering into it, and it makes it further weak. So it gets completely broken. So as a result of this, what happened? Water reacts with the chemicals of the rocks and further weakens the rock. This process by which the rocks are weakened and broken, the process through which these rocks are weakened and broken, we call it as the weathering process. And you know it very well, children, the outer layer of the rock, when it is exposed to the sunlight and the water, its color is different, and the core of the rock, the color is different. And upper, you can make chips very easily, but the core, it will be very hard to break into chips. So chips in the sense small pieces, small rocks. So it is very easy, upper layer can be chipped very easily, but whereas the core level, the center will be very hard because it doesn't get exposed to the sunlight, so it will be very strong. The area which got exposed to the sunlight and water, so it becomes very weak. So the process through which the rocks become weak by exposing to the wind and light is called as a weathering. The second important one is erosion. Erosion, we generally find soil erosion, isn't it? The carrying away of the top layer of the soil because of the wind or the water. You know it very well, children. The whatever got eroded in the sense which have been carried away because of the wind and because of the interaction of wind and water, whatever gets carried away, okay, that movement of that top layer is called as a erosion. Generally, flowing water and wind have great power, and they can slowly take away or wear away or cut away the rocks and soil cover in high places. And water acts in many ways as rain, river, flowing groundwater, sea waves, glaciers. Wind too takes many forms. Sometimes like storms, like a gale, like gust. It takes into different forms and it wear away the earth's surface by these moving agents. And these wearing away due to these moving agents is called as erosion. Wind is a moving event, so it carries away a lot of material, and water also carries away with it a lot of silt and a lot of chemicals. So this wearing away of the top layer of the rock or the soil is called as erosion. And third one is transportation. Transportation is not the eroded material which is in the form of small rocks, gravel, silt, or in the form of fine soil which will be carried away from one place to another place with the help of the water is called as transportation. So whatever got eroded, will it be present at the same place? No. This will be carried away to other places with the help of either by the water or by the wind. So this movement of the fine soil or the fine material, the dust particles, whatever got eroded, okay, this movement of these material is called as a transportation. And last one is a deposition in the denudation process. So once they are transported, they get deposited in the low-lying area. They leave them when there is no more force which can take away them. So it leaves, whether the water or the wind, when it cannot move it further, it leaves them. So that it leaves them the fine material. These dumped debris, they form after few years as a plains, which is a fertile soil, and they also form as a river basin, and they also form as a valleys. So much of it actually transported by the rivers and the sea only, because lot of silt is brought by the sea. Even deltas also form because of the deposition of those debris. So they get transformed into sedimentary rocks. All the four aspects what we have studied now is the process are taking place simultaneously in different places in different ratio. So it depends upon the natural climate of that region, and it also depends upon various factors like interference of the human beings and also the structure of the rock. So it depends upon various activities, but these all four process takes place simultaneously, not after weathering erosion. After erosion it takes transportation, after transportation it's not deposition. They all are taking place simultaneously. So prepare a note, a summary of the denudational process and third order landforms, and in the next class we shall see about the work of the water, the work of the winds, how these deltas get formed, how the valleys get formed. So what is the work of the water in that? Let us see in the next class, children. Thank you.